They're not looking at us. There we go. Okay.
All right.
We are up and going.
On all the platforms?
All the platforms.
All right. Welcome to our weekly live chat, everybody. I think it's 84. Yeah.
Yep.
84th episode.
Video is not live.
No, it's
So
like,
now it's shoot.
Come on.
so as always, this is a question and answer, ask us anything type session. I'm Javad Shadzi, the CEO of 034 Motorsport, and this is Nate Stewart, the Director of Engineering and all things software and tuning.
And video broadcasting, apparently.
And printers. Wow, how did you make me disappear?
I have
I disappeared for like a second.
I have buttons.
We typically, get questions about 034 Motorsport or performance Volkswagen Audi tuning in general. However, we're happy to address any questions you have. And we always take a no BS approach to responding to questions. And we really try to stick to the heart of the matter, or where the rubber meets the road, as they would say in automotive. So yes. So let's get started. We have some questions, a few questions from last week, and if you'd like, you can drop in your questions into the viewer of your choice.
Yep, we're Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah, and obviously you're seeing
us somewhere, so you're on one. But if there's one you prefer, then we're on those three.
I was about to tell people how to find it, but they must have already have. Let's see. Hey, I gotta respond to something real quick. Can you just grab a tuning related question?
Yep. Give me one second. Now that I'm all okay. Let's see. When can we? Oh, here we go. How have the B8 2.0 T tunes been selling? Update on the B8.5 2-liter tunes, ECU and TCU, please. Us Allroad guys need it. Yeah, we know. They're not the biggest mover. It's kind of an older platform. That there's been a lot of
The B8A4.
B8, B8, A4, A5, a lot of saturation out there at this point. So we're still pushing forward with it. We've got a KL4 on it now. We're still doing more and more calibration work on it. The KL4 file will be coming along fairly soon for that, and we'll kind of see how that performs. I'll say right now the stage 1 and stage 2 stuff have been pretty underwhelming as far as our tuning effort.
Yeah, especially compared to B9 stuff.
Sales wise, the tunes are great. We've been
They're good tunes.
yeah. But yeah, it's a smaller market for sure. That's got a lot of previous flashes and competition out there.
B8.5 is something that we'd like to do, but we just have to prioritize it with the importance and opportunity of other tunes with the amount of resources that we have, which are limited but not unsubstantial. We have substantial amount of engineering resources, but there's only so much to go around.
Right.
So, if you have a B8.5, hang in there. We'd like to do it all, but
Yeah.
B9 tunes are a huge opportunity, and we're still not done with B8. We have some exciting stuff on the horizon for B8. We're not done pushing
B8
that.
S4, yep.
B8 3.0 TS4. Have we talked about DynamicDILF yet?
We have not.
Oh, so I'd like to get a Q7, and I'm a DILF, so DynamicDILF. And we want to do a little Q7 program as well, with some lowering springs and 500 horsepower and some sway bar action. So, and then of course we're doing RS5 tuning, and then there's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Stage 3 B9 S4 is really heating up, so we even have 4.0 T in the mix, but honestly, it doesn't seem like
Similar issue to the A5 stuff, right?
Yeah. And there is stuff out there for 4.0 T. If you want to tune your 4.0 T, there are options. So, all right, what do you recommend for downpipes and exhausts on the B9 RS5 platform? We do have racing cats, high flow cats, which are, I believe, Euro 4 rated. So that means that they flow very well, but they're also extremely clean. They do flow better than the factory cat. And in our testing and experience, they flow about as good as a test pipe on, reasonable horsepower applications, say up to like, 700-800 horsepower. Now, at some point, the high flow cap will be more restrictive than a pipe, but we're not sure even what power levels that would be at. So we have a great option. Again, these are for racing use only. They're not to be sold for street use.
Yep.
If you can obviously, it's a free country, so, but we only sell them for racing use.
Yeah. Well, and it's it's an international thing too. It's not,
and of course, international.
Not
yeah.
just American.
In general, we do not recommend test pipes. They're just not worth the soot and extra pollution and the smell.
Yeah, these days there's really basically no need to go that route.
Yeah, unless you're really like into producing fireballs and anti-lag and flames out your tailpipe, which cats just won't deal with that well at all. So, but you can still get some pops and bangs with cats.
Quite a lot, yeah. I mean, and all of the testing, the two-step stuff, that I've done has primarily been on high flow cat stuff anyway. So it's not, we haven't had any issues with it.
Two-step on B9 ZF8.
Yeah, that'll be coming when we roll out our advanced launch features. Yeah. So yeah, you'll have the more of a hard cut limiter for the launch control set point, just like our B8 3-liter stuff. It's coming.
We haven't released it yet, but we will soon. So hang in there. It's not far off. I have your ECU and TCU Stage 2 on my 2017 S3 and absolutely loved it. Thanks, guys. More crackles and pops would be nice, though.
Yep, it's a balance we always have to strike. It's
I walked
some
right
guys. Some guys want more, some guys want less. So
yeah. We talk about this all the time, but we have to kind of please everybody, and we just can't do like lots of different crackle and pop files.
We try and strike that balance. I mean, short of putting the crackle knob we've talked about on these things.
Update on B9 SQ5 sway bar kit. Yes, it's been in handoff. The web pages are being built currently. I don't know if we have an estimated release, about 4 weeks.
Months.
4 months.
He's just got approved.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Yeah, it's going to be this summer. We just finished the development and engineering and testing, and so now we have to have one of our U.S.-based manufacturing companies make them for us. So yeah, I would say late spring, early summer.
So the handoff process, when it basically leaves our engineering team and then goes to our manufacturing, production, and all of the resources we use here to then keep it in stock, get it up on the website, move forward from engineering to retail ready, boxed, shippable product.
Mm-hmm. That's a weird question. Is there a braking limit set by Audi? I'm reading you cannot improve braking on the RS3 TTRS beyond what the factory.
I'm not sure. I saw that last week. I have not.
Where does this come from?
I have not run into that or seen that.
Well, that's patently false because our TTRS.
Yeah, we've upgraded all of the
brakes
stuff beyond the stock stuff. I haven't on that car also encountered any weirdness, short of getting into full ABS with race pads and basically R comps on. So
I'd like to know what this person.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. Audi does do a lot of weird stuff with rate limiting and usually it's only acceleration based though. They'll typically let you slow down as fast as you want.
I mean, there's a lot of BS online, but that's pretty BS.
You might have a super overactive, lockup condition in the rear that's triggering your ABS if you've got some raunchy pads in it. I really don't know, but no, it's nothing we've run into here.
So this is somehow they would like monitor the G forces and
they do. They absolutely do.
Yeah, but
all of that's monitored, but I can't. I've never seen.
No, I know they monitor G forces. I'm saying they would monitor it and then limit the braking somehow based on the G force readings.
I don't know. I haven't seen that personally. So
no, I'd say that's totally BS. But if you'd like to share with us what you read,
if you got some more info or some resources, I'm happy to look it up further.
4-inch DAZA turbo inlet ETA. I think we talked about this last week. It's, I think they're a couple weeks out. Give it about a month or so. We will release it.
Valentine's Day surprise.
Yeah, Valentine's Day surprise.
4 inches.
A 4-inch Valentine's Day surprise. Wow. That would be pretty surprising. Is that what you call disappointment?
We're talking diameter, so I don't know.
Okay. All right.
That's quite surprising.
That's also an unfortunate surprise. What are you going to do with that? All right, ETA on B9.5 Stage 2 TCU Tune. Will it be a similar delay to the ECU Tune?
No. So the B9.5 ECU Tune is
Yeah, just FYI, delays in certain things don't determine delays in other things. We don't like purposefully delay anything,
you're not
and I'm not even sure what that means. But we are working on B9.5 stuff. I don't think we have an ETA at this time.
No, it's they moved around a bunch of stuff in those later files for absolutely no reason we've ever seen, but it's what they do. So it's just a matter of time. We've got to get some new file structure set up and some testing done before we can release it. So that's all that's waiting on for the TCU side. B9.5 ECUs are released. There are a couple of very, very late box codes that we're still populating because again they went and moved or removed some maps that are long-standing maps that have been in these ECUs for decades that they've now just done away with. So we just need to test and validate all of our calibrations are where we want them on the new tuning strategy that the OEM implemented. So that's where that's at.
This question about where am I upper? We can't answer that. Can they give some more information?
Yeah, any if you're asking for like order status stuff, that we can't off the cuff that here. There's nothing we can do about that.
No, and if you just say where are my upper control arms? I mean, come on, dude.
For what vehicle? For what?
Yeah.
What are arms?
I mean, it sounds like they're talking about the A8 ones.
I think this goes.
Let's see,
we don't even know.
We can't even answer the question without at least.
But you need to email contact@034motorsport.com if you'd like an order status. And we have a team of customer service agents with access to reports and information that can give you precise information about your order status. We don't have access to that. In fact, even if you email me or call me or if you come to my house, I'm not going to be able to give you order status information on thousands of different orders that we have in our system on any given day. So
it's like hitting up DAZAs for your Amazon order. Not quite to that scale, but
yeah. 2022 RS3 thoughts, like it or dislike it? I like it. Can I have one?
Yep, let's get one.
Okay, cool. Send it over.
No, we'll be
what's not to like though? Seriously.
Right. Yeah, it's all the updated tech package.
It's got the drift mode, the rear diff,
same great motor.
diff.
It is on the later ECU softwares that all of the 2.9s and the 3 liters are on now, so we get to play with that again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, the car's awesome. Looking forward to it.
It's got the wide mouth front grille. I mean,
it's got the extra little snoot in the hood.
Yeah, and it's got those fat fenders on it. Beautiful. And it has an internal combustion engine.
Still have that. Yep.
If you want to, at this point, let's just put it this way: if you're an automotive enthusiast and you want to start nitpicking internal combustion engine sports cars that are coming out, you should probably check yourself because
there's not a lot more coming.
Pretty soon. I mean, and I'm excited for electric cars too, but I also grew up on raunchy, snarly, smoky internal combustion engines, and they are going away, but I'll appreciate them as long as they're here. And I mean, they will always be here, but I'm talking about new ones coming from the factory. Actually, Nick, have you moved out of state yet? Your mom said you need to move out of state.
He hasn't checked his messages.
I somehow came across your mom on Facebook. And there was a post saying
string of texts.
It was this trolling post about Nick, you're gonna have to move out of California because they're banning internal combustion cars in 15 years.
Yeah, just trying to get you out
as
quick as possible.
Well, you probably don't need to move quite yet. Maybe in 20 years.
And keep in mind all these OEMs are
as long as you've done a lot of.
Just so happened to stumble across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she popped up on my feed. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of OEMs have said recently, like, "Hey, we're not doing any more internal combustion engines." What that really means is they're not developing new architectures. They're not ground up reinventing whatever engine classes they have. They're going to be selling cars with internal combustion engines still for a while.
Yeah.
It's just outside of their brand new reinventing, putting all their R&D into a new ICE engine.
So this year or last year in 2021, Audi came out and said, we're not developing any new internal combustion engines. So that means the current 4.0T that's out is the 4.0T that they will continue to use until they stop using it.
Or if they've got a newer one in the queue already and it's done, and we might see that. But
the Gen 4 MQB E888 is the last motor, new motor. But that doesn't mean they won't keep selling that motor for 30 more years. But people freak out and say, "Oh, you said they're not making any more." Like, well, that's not actually what they said. And unfortunately, I'm not. I'm a proponent of generally media and news, but a lot of outlets will grab these salacious headlines and
the clickbait world we live in,
and they generate clickbait. Of course, they explain it all in the article if you read it, but 99% of people don't, according to Fox News. How do you feel about the new Audi Electric concept cars? How about current? I love all Audi electric cars that are out.
They're killing it, I think, on
The e-trons are awesome. I think they're a great first effort. I'm really glad to see Audi bringing their quality and technology to market to offset like what Tesla's doing.
Yeah, it really shows too, like how Audi and the Volkswagen Group really approaches these kind of technologies and efforts. There's no joking around.
Like they really tackled the cooling issues that Tesla struggled with for years. They tackled it right off the bat.
It's all engineered and thought out to an extremely great depth.
I also love that there's like not a lot of hype around it. Like Audi didn't send an e-tron to the moon for no reason.
They just hired Ken Block.
They hired Ken Block to hoon one around and do some stuff like that. But no, it's cool. The electric concept that I've seen looks interesting. It looks cool. It looks like they're exploring some neat tech that they may or may not use in the future. So yeah, I'm honestly really excited to drive. I'd love to get like an Eon RS GT or something like that.
Following up, somebody actually just asked if there's any tuning potential for the new Audi EVs.
We talk about this all the time.
We are, they yelled it. There's not even a question mark.
There's so much potential. Are you kidding me?
But yeah, we
talk about this all the time.
We don't have any concern yet that we won't be in there and turning similar knobs and tuning on these engines. So all the current stuff, that's something we can do. And I mean, these are all calibrated. They're mapped. They're similar to internal combustion engines, just in the end a lot simpler to control. So
yeah, it's a motor that produces torque, and as it revs, it has horsepower that's generated as a function of the speed that the motor's turning.
Yep.
And there's electric controller, and there's amperage and voltage that flows into the motor. There's upgrades to the motor that can be made. There's upgrades to the battery pack,
the inverters, the controllers. I mean, there's a lot in there that can still be upgraded and changed. It's just a different tech package. So
the entire power curve can be tuned much more precisely than a gasoline or internal combustion.
Pedal response, pedal mapping, speed limiters, characteristics. All that's there and ripe for a change.
I'm just looking forward to having an electric car autonomously drive me to work, so that I can just sit on TikTok. Like why do I want to drive? I mean, in traffic, it's
potentially the number one site on the internet a couple weeks ago.
Was it?
Yep, it surpassed Google on a couple of reports.
It pales in comparison to porn, though. I was just watching a documentary about porn. Like, it's insane. The amount, like, basically the internet
documentary
about porn. No, I was not watching porn, but I have watched porn before. Well, that's not really porn. It's kind of a different type of. But no, I mean, the internet is basically there for pornography, whether you like it or not. And emails are there for spam. Like 99% of all emails are spam.
And I found out if you go to the the Computer History Museum, that all of the computers are here for missiles and to blow people up. Is basically what I determined.
Well, that's also true.
Yeah, literally, like all of the technological advancements are like for new navigation systems, like back in the day.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what they do in my backyard. How do you guys use the true launch control on the S4 B9 with your ECU and TCU Stage 2?
So this comes up a little
What's
bit.
true launch control?
It's the fact that we've implemented legitimate launch control.
Oh, where it's like
strategies
building
on
some
the
boost.
ECU.
Yeah. So when we say true launch control, that means that it's more than just like a static rev limiter that the ECU is sitting on, which is what it normally does from the factory.
Yeah.
We actually will account for and add boost pressure and load to the motor in order to build up more, boost off the line. So that's where our true launch control comes in. And then to use it, it's identical to factory. So, traction control off, sport mode, foot heavy on the brake, and then your other foot heavy on the gas. That's the magic sauce.
Yeah, we're actually allowing the car to launch and accelerate from a stop much faster than just
and
a
there's a bunch of
limiter.
other mapping in there that it works on controlling the actual torque at the tire itself when you release to do as best as we can to limit wheel spin. So even with all that boost and power, we try to maximize the just accelerative forces versus just smoking the tires off the line.
Follow-up question to that.
Yes, what we are currently doing is safe, although
Yeah, somebody's asking, is that torque requested at launch safe for my drivetrain?
it really depends on your tires and the grip on the road, and
Yeah.
but we test all this stuff.
We
If-
beat the crap out
If
of
it
it.
was snapping axles on every launch, then we wouldn't release that as a product.
Yeah, I mean that said, people have snapped axles with stock launch control too. I mean, this is you're moving a big heavy vehicle very quickly. It's a lot of forces. So, if your axle was built on a Friday night, then maybe it's not quite as up to snuff as one that was a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the amount of torque that's being sent to various wheels on your Quattro vehicle is only one factor in what could break your axle. So if you have a suspension that allows your front left tire to lift, spin up, and drop, that impact of the tire stopping will, you have this momentum in your drivetrain, and you have a transmission, gears, a drive shaft, axles that have a lot of inertia, and that tire stops after spinning up. The axle's the thing that gives.
Yeah, and even if we've had a lot of guys like launching, like we released our B8 advanced launch, and they're out like testing it, but on like snowy, icy, wet roads. That's you'd think it'd be a lot easier on the drivetrain. It's potentially a lot harder because of that exact reason. You're spinning up tires here and there. They grab, another one will release, and you get just these really high shock loads. So there's only so many conditions we can account for.
If you put a really sticky tire, one thing could happen, but actually a harder, less sticky tire could make it worse because it could spin up and then grab and slow down.
Yeah, it could pop. So just put the power down in a very different way.
Whenever you launch your vehicle, there's a chance that you'll break an axle. That's typically what is damaged. Thankfully, that's the fuse in the system. If you ever break an axle and you look at them, they're just like thin tubes, basically. It's very obvious that they're designed to be the failure points. They will even neck down and get narrower or smaller, and they have like little weak points built into them. But generally, we have customers on our tunes with our products who have launched hundreds or thousands of times and not damaged their cars.
We haven't in-house yet snapped an axle on any of our
not these new
vehicles.
cars. This was like a B5 S4.
Our old cars, we would row through axles. We'd bring a crate of axles with us to the drag strip.
MPX.
Oh, MBX, yeah.
We've not seen any reports for B9.
And B9, yeah, I can't think of one.
That's the main platform people are concerned about it with.
No, back to we do our best to limit that axle torque as well on launch to correctly get the car off the line, but not.
And we're also controlling like wild wheel spin too, not letting things spin way.
Yep. So there's rate of accel controls and all that in there. So
Can you speak to any developments you've made on the Mark 8 platform? Yes. A lot of the products that we currently sell for MQB fit the MQB Evo, which is the Mark 8 platform. We are working on some new products like we have a turbo muffler delete that's very close to being released. We're working on a turbo inlet. I mean, all intake, all the parts that we sold for Mark 7 MQB, we will have for Mark 8 Evo and the S3 and Golf R and things like that. We do have some exciting products on the horizon. We actually have a camber and suspension optimizing lower ball joint, which is for lowered cars. So when you lower your car, you change the geometry of your suspension. So this ball joint actually helps to correct that. We have camber caster mounts coming. We have some really cool, we haven't talked about these a lot, but some really cool forged lower control arms that allow for additional optimized suspension geometry as well as adjustability for camber. The factory arms are not adjustable. And it basically gives you, like, you know, most of these cars come with stamped steel arms. These are like a really nice 034 forged control arm, aluminum control arm with optimized geometry. So we have a lot of cool stuff coming from Mark 8. Hang in there. We have an 8Y S3 in-house, and we have a GTI incoming as well. I see 95, 98 Euro RON files coming up on some tunes over the usual 91, 93. Are there any timing differences between these files taking into account the typical lack of E content in Europe?
No, they would be the same as the equivalent across. We've tested these pretty extensively back and forth, and the amount of E we have in most of our files here is minimal to the point that it doesn't matter at the moment.
It's like 10%.
We don't really account for that. That level of ethanol in those files. Just as the factory is running, it's a 91 octane file regardless of the at the pump E content.
For European guys, just do the conversion.
Some of those files, there was a little bit of. I'll have to go back and search and figure out which ones are there and put them back to 91 or 93. But we were trying to accommodate a couple of Euro guys that were asking questions.
Yeah,
we ended up formally standardizing on using just the Armon over to standard US ratings.
Someone says, I love you guys. The fact that you're local gives me meaning for living. Well, that's great. I mean, that's all I could ever hope for, is to be someone else's reason for living. As long as you don't expect too much.
As I say, we'll strive to be enough for you.
We'll continue to be us, and as long as that gives you meaning, then perfect. Do you have true launch control for my manual Mark 7.5R?
Yeah, we will. That'll be part of our advanced launch package, and it will work with manuals as well.
By the way, I have been driving our in-house Mark 7.5 Golf R for the last few weeks, and it's a wonderful car.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Nick this last week, but like it kind of hit me last week. I've just been driving this car for a few weeks, and kind of hit me like I'm driving an all-wheel drive hot hatch with like 400 plus horsepower and like on rails handling. Yeah. Like that would have been like, I would have killed for that car like 10, 15 years ago. I mean, that would have been that car, this Golf R that we all take for granted right now did not exist. There was not a small hatchback Volkswagen with high horsepower and all-wheel drive. It didn't exist. It was like
there was like the R32, but that was not.
But it had a VR6.
Yeah,
with like
it was nowhere near, and
like it was basically a boat anchor.
Even tuned or turboed, the all-wheel drive system was nothing like this is.
And so back then, I always dreamed of taking a Mark IV R32 and putting like a 1.8T or a 2.0T in it, and that would be like the kind of the European hot hatch car that we all wanted that we could never get. And so it's a good time. I always say this: it's a good time to be an automotive enthusiast, especially in Volkswagen, Audi.
Oh man, yeah.
You want like you could pick up a Golf R like that. You could put 10 grand into it, and I mean, people used to obsess over like the Focus RS and all these like European hot hatches and stuff. You could build that now, and the car's stunning.
Just think of like the track days we do now, like the amount of like really fast, high power, high performance cars we're out just tracking all day long.
It's insane.
And we're doing very, very minimal, we're checking wheel torques and pressures typically, when we're between sessions. Whereas days of yore, it would be filling up with quarts of oil, wiping down, and just transmission parts like left on track as you're like coasting back, and it's
overheating.
You're managing just the edge of everything on the car.
Like seriously, like cars don't overheat anymore. Like it used to be like if you had a turbo converted like Audi small chassis car, like an 80 or a 4000 Quattro, it's just all you're dealing with is trying to manage the cooling, and then you end up putting like a 5,000 watt fan, on the radiator just to like
literally
create a hurricane.
It'll nearly pull the car forward just with the fan on. So.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I had
and it was still
100 amp breaker.
Yep.
for that fan,
Yep.
just because it was pulling so much current.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's a good time to be into cars.
Yeah, I mean, and the
Enjoy it.
brakes that are out there now, the suspension, it's all
even-
so good.
GTIs now have like 13.5 inch
Mhm.
brakes stock. And just need better pads, really. RS5 tuning question mark? Yes, we are working on it as we speak.
If you hear background noise, you probably won't. But if you do, it
Yeah.
might be the RS5s on the dyno right now.
We're working on it. It's going to be stunning. Hang in there. What's the biggest difference between your Stage 2 and 2 Plus ECU tune for the B8 S4?
The plus. 2 is just
Pluser.
generally... This market's a little tricky. The 2 and the 2 Plus, the difference is going to be the pulley ratio you're running. So when these were all initially kind of standardized, a Stage 2 tune meant you upgraded just your upper supercharger pulley. A 2 Plus meant you did the upper and the lower pulley to get a higher ratio. These days, there's lots of options to do it any which way. You can do just a huge lower pulley and leave the upper alone. So yeah, it's all about pulley ratio. But basically, our Stage 2 is designed if you had like just our like 57 millimeter upper pulley on there, and that's it. Anything beyond that is generally a 2 Plus territory.
For now that there's Stage 2 trans for the B9, I'm creeping on 60,000 and I want to do the transmission fluid change. What do you recommend the trans service be done at? So our Crackerjack Audi team here has stated that that Audi says lifetime fluid with no service needed. However, people are doing them at 40,000 miles with OEM fluid.
Yep.
It's really up to you. I mean, you could have it inspected. I'm sure a Jiffy Lube would love to change it for you and empty it out and not put anything in there.
Wow. It's funny you mentioned that. I had a company car in a previous life. It was like Subaru something or other Outback. Brought in for an oil change. They drained the transmission fluid. Realized afterwards it wasn't the engine oil. Then drained the engine oil, filled up the engine, and sent me on my way with no transmission fluid and blew up the trans in a day.
Yeah. So it's really up to you. You don't need to. If you want to feel safe, go for it. Yeah, I'm familiar with the situation. Someone's asking about their Audi B6 high flow cat for racing use. We had some fitment issues with a batch that came in, and we had to have them redone. Luckily, we were able to test fit the new version last week, and it fits great. But your best bet is to email contact@034motorsport for information about that. Even if you ordered from somebody else, we could still give you information on when those are shipping. What?
Policy is correct that doesn't happen. If you order from someone else, you talk to people you order from.
I don't know why that would be.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, this is our live chat. This is not the right form. It sounds like you ordered from ECS, so you should contact ECS. If you'd like to get a refund from them, you can order it from us, and then we could give you information on it. But there is a reason why it hasn't shipped. There's certainly nothing sitting in the warehouse. That's not how things work here. If something's sitting in the warehouse, it ships that day. So anyways, best of luck. But yeah, either go to ECS or buy it from us, and we'll take care of you either way. ECS is obviously welcome to contact us, and we could give them information too. But this isn't the right. We're not customer service here. Does the B9 have advanced launch control?
No, not at this time.
Not yet.
It will.
Yeah, but it's coming. I know the B8.5 Ethanol Adjustable files took a backseat to the B9 stuff. Is that still on the agenda? I think we just talked about this.
The B8.5 ethanol stuff is not. It didn't really take a backseat to the B9 stuff. We've got more than one calibrator here. It's on our list. It is in the queue. We will be working on it more this year. Yes, I can certainly say that.
Yeah. Do you see lots of DAZAs coming in for carbon cleaning? It has port and direct injectors. Curious if the port injectors do enough to keep the intake valves clean.
I don't believe we've seen one.
I don't think we've ever done one. No. Certainly nothing like B7 RS4 or R8s.
Yeah. No, I don't think we've ever needed to or seen one that
I think port injection solves it.
Yeah.
That's been the issue with FSI is all the solvent and fuel is inside the combustion chamber, and none gets out into the port, and so inevitably you have vapors that deposit and crankcase oil and things like that carbonize on the walls of the intake simply because there's no solvent.
There's no cleaning medium. Yeah.
So yeah, that, and I think that's a big reason why the main reason why Audi put them there.
Yeah, and if you ever are interested and want to log a stock car, you'll see that those injectors get used at like light load cruise only, literally just for basically port cleaning and management. There's really no other function there other than maintaining those valves.
Let's skip that MPI question. I don't want to get into that.
No.
Hi guys, are you coming to New Jersey for Waterfest? Waterfast.
Waterfast?
Is it called Waterfast now?
Waterfest. No.
Okay. Waterfast isn't a bad name.
Bad one, yeah.
I you know what? I think we pretty much said we're never going to Waterfest again. Because every time we go there, there's some type of hurricane and raining and flooding,
Planes crashing,
airplanes crashing,
lightning storms, like it's been...
booths blowing away. And then when there's not that, it's like literally oppressive humidity that makes you want to die. So
I think every time I've gone, I have photos of me standing barefoot in like 4 inches of standing water. Some horrendous
problem for us too is, we're on the opposite coast, and it's probably going to cost us about $20,000 or $30,000 to be there
just to get gear on.
And we're not even sure what it benefits, financially. And then meanwhile, our staff is there; they're not here, so we got plenty of business here. So we probably won't be, and I do believe the last time we went, we were like, we're never going back. So, but I used to go every year. Nate and I, one of the first things we did together was Nate helped me set up a booth at Waterfest. It was
helping was generous.
Yeah, but a lot of good memories from Waterfest. Yeah. But I even. What did we towed 80 TQ? Or
no, I was going to drive my 90.
No, Christian.
My 90.
Drove
the first.
TQ.
You're talking the first year?
Not the very first year. Okay. I'm just saying, at one point...
He towed it out.
We towed 80 TQ out there, and I drag raced it. But it's so freaking hot. It's not even hot. It's humid. It's just the humidity.
Yeah, we can deal with heat all the time out here.
Yeah. No, it gets hot here. It gets hotter here than there. It's just, you don't want to, like, rip your skin off.
Someone just asked if we were developing lower control arms for the MQB platform. They missed.
They must have missed it. So lower control. There was a question: are we doing the lower control arms for the MQB? That is something we are working on. Yes, we're working on a forged lower arm, I believe.
It's forged aluminum with optimized geometry and allows for an adjustable ball joint, and it comes with density, rubber density control arm bushings installed. So we are currently testing production samples, and it's looking good, so stay tuned.
Yep.
Is rolling anti-lag something you would consider bringing to the MQB 2.0T? How about ALC?
ALC for certain. Rolling anti-lag very likely.
We're working on a big update for our MQB stuff.
Yep.
Any more updates on the high pressure fuel pump for the B8, B8.5 3.0T? Yeah, nothing new. It's nothing's changed since the last time we talked about it.
We're working on it.
It's being worked on. We're running out of questions this week.
There's a guy bothering us about CREC.
CREC. We were working on CREC.
CREC. Anything?
I mean, that's.
This is another one of those things that has to be prioritized.
We have been working on it.
This is the Q7 as well, CREC.
Different ECU.
It's a different.
But it's
the late ones I think might actually be CREC if it's the latest gen. I got to look. This is what we were trying to 100% verify. So possibly might be similar enough anyway. But no, we're working on the CREC stuff. We have been iterating and going through. We don't have a full another stage release yet for it, but it's coming along. We'll have a lot more support probably this coming year for it.
When can we expect to see TTE 710 tuning for the B9? It's also being worked on. We don't have a release date, but soon. And
that's literally on the car doing dyno pulls every day right now.
In like this spring or winter. Next few months.
Spring or winter? Oh, like end of winter.
I mean, it's winter right now.
I was like, oh my God.
Or the spring.
Yeah. Yep.
but yeah, no promises on anything. But yes, it should go relatively quickly considering that all the hard work's done. So we're just tuning now.
Yep. Yeah, and once we've got like really solid stage 1, stage 2 stuff, the hybrid files will be a lot quicker on the development path because it's a much smaller overall change. In the scheme of things, yeah, they can make a lot more power, but we've already gone through and basically we will set up the calibration of the ECU in a way that we know there's going to be more growth ahead. So all of our base mapping is usually in a very good place to pick up and just kind of set up for that bigger turbo.
Do you still offer S2 Replica Quattro steering rack? No.
Oh, it's an oldie.
So that was a product that I came into. There was an ex Audi Sport mechanic who was responsible when he was working for Audi Sport of short racking, creating shorter ratios for a lot of the rally cars and things like that. And so this guy continued building these gear sets that went inside the steering racks. And so he would, I came up with, I asked him to make me one for our Coupe Quattro, 7A Coupe Quattro, time attack car. And so it worked really nicely. I think it was like 2 turns, 1.7 instead of like almost 3. And so I started sourcing used steering racks and shipping them to him in Europe, and then we would sell them here. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but I think we sold those for, 5 or 6 years, probably sold 50 or 75 of them, and then he died. And so the program ended, unfortunately. I think Brian Scotto told me recently.
He's got basically barely outside of a new inbox. No, he had one of our old ones.
Oh, he bought it way back.
He just never drove it. So
I heard
basically a new rack that's been sitting there.
So he bought one, and then I heard of someone else. The used ones are either held on like gold or they sell for top dollar. Unfortunately, the cars really need it. And if you've ever driven something like an Evo, and it feels like the steering's very fast and responsive, and that's mainly what it is they have a very short ratio rack, and when you did that in an Audi, it felt a lot more like an Evo. So that was pretty cool.
Now Nick's just trolling us with these questions. Where did that come from? I didn't see that.
I saw that.
Downpipe for DynamicDILF, MILF, SQ5, B9, B9.5. Yes, it's coming. It's a little bit different than the regular one. It's just a little longer. But for now, if you want to get into something right away, I'd recommend the Wagner unit. They have one out to market. How much power will your surge tank for DAZA support? We're not quite sure, but it should support a lot.
Yeah, I was trying to think the biggest one we had it on currently was
at least.
Awesome car was like
high
7s.
Yeah, we were mid to high 700 wheel.
700 wheel
on a car in the UK.
And it's a slightly higher flowing pump, but we eliminate all the fuel line restriction.
Yeah, the pressure to drop is pretty substantial in this factory.
I know on some of these DAZAs that have the E5 LM pump in the tank, that they're losing up to 3 bar fuel pressure from the tank to the fuel to the front of the car. So that's pressure drop through the 8 mil fuel. We eliminate all. So imagine how much power potential in the fuel system capacity is just being wasted overcoming that massive restriction. So it's kind of like
we haven't found the limit yet, but mid to high 700 wheel currently.
It should eliminate the need for that E5 LM pump for a lot of the applications.
For a lot of them, yeah.
Probably like 90% of them.
Yeah, we do have a design that will incorporate the E5 pump as well.
We do, but those pumps are almost impossible to get, and we were partnering with iRose on that, and that's all gone now. So I don't know even how much we'll support that, but I guess we can offer it for sale. I think that the surge tank will.
If you can source your pump, yeah.
Or if you have a pump from your tank, you can take it out of your tank and put a stock pump back in.
Yeah, because the tank itself is just such a huge problem on these cars with high horsepower, high fuel use stuff.
And then we're also looking into some voltage controller
Yeah.
stuff, which should greatly
Yeah,
increase
so we're looking at being able to get what I think another 20 or 30% out of our current solution. So I mean,
but I mean, you could theoretically double it.
Yeah,
with a voltage controller,
it's,
you can double the flow.
we think there's a pretty substantial amount of headroom still.
Yeah, and we're moving forward with that product. It's taken much longer than it should have, but it's coming. Do you ship to South Africa? Yes, we ship all over the world every day. We would be happy to ship to South Africa or Zimbabwe or Lithuania or Greenland.
Our website used to say we ship worldwide.
Israel.
The whole banner on the top. I guess.
Yeah, because like every other email, when I used to answer all the emails, would be like, "Do you ship worldwide?" Like, yes, just place an order. Like,
you can check out.
Choose your country.
You can check out the cart. It'll show you the shipping rates. Yep.
I know we have some dealers in South Africa as well. The RMZ.
Yeah, Remise.
I'd say they're our best, most active dealer.
There are a few.
There's also Volks Cafe, which does a little bit with us. I wish they'd do more, but I think they like Racing Line better, which is cool. But yeah, if you need if you want to check with those dealers and you need something right away from us, we're happy to ship it. You can go on our website, add it to your cart, put in your shipping information, and you can choose from all the shipping options we offer, which should be at least DHL and FedEx International, and there may even be some USPS options. Is the B9 a good platform? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. No, it's a phenomenal platform.
In a lot of ways. I mean, the tech package is a really nice step up, thankfully, from the B8.
It's a great handling car.
The B9.5 even more so. You can actually touch the screen on those.
Mm-hmm.
The car handles fantastically. It's if you want like a GT, like a mini GT car, like it's a really solid platform for just soaking up highway miles.
And all of them, the S4, the A4, the
RS5,
even the SQ5 options are awesome. I loved the B9 A4. We had that for 3 years. That was honestly one of my favorite cars.
I still don't I mean, hopefully they're getting there, but that's still an underappreciated platform.
Very underappreciated. Great handling car. Even stock power wasn't bad, but with like 300 horsepower, it was really nice.
DSG tune and
handled so good. The DSG was really nice. Can you make a DynamicDILF vest for me to wear at Waterfest? We might just have to do that. Boy, DynamicDILF's really catching on.
We might ask that you actually wear it.
I mean, he did come up with that.
I guess we'd have to determine, are you actually a DILF though?
Or a MILF.
Because I'm not personally. That's not a thing for me.
Last Jason.
Yeah, he could tell us. Oil catch can for DAZA. Yes, it's coming soon. I think we were finalizing that last week. It's, I don't know, a month or so out, month or two. It's coming. We also have one coming for the B9 S4 and RS5 as well. Any deals on 034 two-piece rotors for MQB coming? Possibly, maybe. No. We don't have a lot of sales. We had our big Black Friday sale a little while ago. I'm not sure what we're doing. I mean, typically we have 2 sales a year, but if you're looking to get something soon, I would not hold your breath. But it's possible, sure. But yeah. Given that you have a B58 340i, what are your thoughts on the engine? How would you compare the BMW ZF8 factory tuning to Audi's? That's a really nice engine, I gotta say. Overall, the car is really nice. I would say it's probably a higher level of performance out of the box than the typical Audi.
Yeah, it's
S-car.
It's still a pretty, I would say, numb driving experience. For pedal response. The tuning, yeah.
Although it gets better in sport mode, and it has more.
It does give you a lot more when you put it in like what is it, Sport Plus? And
there's not just sport mode. There's not just dynamic. There's like several.
As far as I can tell, it actually lets you turn all of the traction control off, which is really nice. Which we were fighting with all of our VAG stuff at Laguna again this last session.
Yeah. No, they're really nice cars. I mean, it's obvious why people like them.
As far as the ZF8 tuning, I'd say to the same effect. It's I'd say a little more driver oriented. It's a little crisper. It's good. So yeah, it's I'd put it probably between the S and the RS, like ZF8 stuff from Audi.
It could definitely use some improvement. Any tuners in Calgary, Alberta for 034? Yeah, as always, use our dealer locator on the website, which if you go to our homepage and scroll down to the very bottom,
It's right at the bottom.
there's dealer locator there.
For tuning, they have to click the Dynamic page.
Yeah, and then there's like hardware dealers and then tuning.
Yeah, we've got a lot of dealers that are just software, so there's a separate resource for that.
Well, yeah, it's more. Not all of our hardware dealers do software.
Right.
What are the awards behind you? These are all Time Attack awards.
Where did the RC car tire go? I missed that one.
That's around. But yeah, these are Eurotuner GP. This is a Time Attack, Redline Time Attack, where we got a string of second place finishes. No, actually, we won in 2007. We won in the modified class, the champion, and a lot of Eurotuner GP. This was 2006 Eurotuner Super Street had a Time Attack event, and we won in the unlimited FF category. But there's a bunch more stuff. But yeah, I mean, racing and tuner competitions.
I really miss those.
They're a big part of our history, and that's really ultimately how Nate and I learned. You hear us talk about all this stuff. That's really how we learned a lot of it, was just being thrown into the cauldron of racing and competition. I think competition is the key. Most people are just not driven to perform at a higher level unless there's a reason. Competitions do that for people. You want to get in shape, sign up for a triathlon, I've gotten really into biking, and I've really improved, my health and my physical conditioning. And a big step in that was I signed up for, there's a Mount Diablo ride where you ride 3,500 feet of elevation over 11 miles. And I just signed up for it, and then I was forced to prepare for it, and I was able to do it. And then that led me to do more. And that's really how competitions were for us. We built all these cars, but we had a deadline that we had to meet.
And that was great, but it was also like it really fit into like what we do and do really well, which is these whole vehicle package handling, all the suspension stuff, the brakes in some cases, all the power,
versus just drag racing,
drivability, and then but to tell somebody like, it's this good on this track, it'll cut this lap time. That it's really hard to equate that to anything. But when you're out there with a field of peers, and you're all on essentially the same playing field on the same day on the same tires, and we were able to destroy the competition in our off the shelf S3 parts. It really was a nice platform to kind of show that how we set ourselves apart.
I think the S3 was a kind of a proud moment for me and the company, where we took our 8V S3 to a tuner competition with all factory
all of our
034 factory off the shelf parts, and we swept the competition.
Turbo kit, all of our springs, sway bars, inserts.
We beat everyone on track, and we turned the fastest lap times. Again, off the shelf tuning, off the shelf turbo kit, off the shelf suspension handling parts. Every other car there had like custom turbo kits and coilovers, and we just had our DynamicDILF springs. So and that was when, like 2015,
something like that. It was like one of the last ones. That might have been a
2016
liter only comp. But it was basically a field of MQ.
It was the last like European car 2-liter events.
It was European too. I want to say like a Ford Focus might have been out there too. Or...
It wasn't just Volkswagen or Audi. It was European in general. There was a Mercedes, but these events have pretty much all gone away. There is some Time Attack racing left, but I don't think I never hear about it.
And Time Attack's such a wild spread of vehicles and efforts that it's
mainly global Time Attack.
Global Time Attack.
But I heard like Redline tried to come back in the last year or two, but I haven't heard anything about it. but yeah, global time attack is still around, but I mean, it's not. It's just I just never hear of it. It's not in our community. There's no one in Volkswagen Audi is doing anything.
Yeah, it's one of those things again that doesn't equate to what
Yeah.
we're what our products really do or the vehicles they're on.
Yeah, it would be interesting to go to events. I feel like that. I mean, I lived through the heyday of it, and I don't feel like it compares to, say, the kind of 2005 through 2015.
Yeah.
I feel like was the heyday.
Yeah, because we jumped in like the Evos were getting stupid.
Evos,
fast.
NSXs,
the GTRs were on the field there.
Subarus. There were some incredibly fast Subarus, STIs and shit. All right, let's keep moving. We got 5 minutes. This was a good question. How is the 034 Motorsport adventure into BMW products? How do you think the tuning will look like from 034? Overall, it's going well. We have a pretty big and growing product line of very dynamic plus 034 Motorsport products coming for the 340i and also for the M3 models. And you'll continue to see more and more of that stuff released in the next few months. We're still trying to figure out what we want to do with tuning. It's a different market. People are looking for and expecting different things than the Volkswagen Audi market. And so we really need to do some more research before we can say too much about that. But we are looking into doing tuning, and it's something we're interested in. But for now, we would not take away resources from Volkswagen Audi tuning to give it to BMW. But we would have to add. And let's see. Some of these I've already answered. S4.0T project, how's it coming? Do you think you'll hit the torque limit to the S4 Trans as you keep pushing for more power? We need to release some more fun information about that project, and that's coming. Our goal this year will be to start pushing the power, and depending on what turbo we put on it, we can easily hit every limit there is. So, but stay tuned for more. Our goal is to produce a video series documenting some of the work that we're doing on that this year.
Yep.
What's the best turbo upgrade for the B9 RS5, TT700, or Peer? Will you be doing stage 3? We will be doing stage 3. We don't currently have an opinion on which the best one is.
We need to evaluate those at a more of an engineering level versus what's on the market currently.
Both TTE and Peer are reputable companies, and I see us likely supporting both. We don't really have a horse in that race. We would just like to support anyone who decides on whichever option is available. Will B9 and B9.5 RS5 tuning be released at a similar time?
Yes. Yeah, we have no indication that we would have to stage that release.
They're the same ECU.
Yep. Currently, things are looking good for that.
Anything in the works for a surge tank and pump setup for the B8, B8.5 S4? Yes, we have a universal kit that we'll be putting on the site, which will be relatively simple to outfit for the B8.
Yeah, the B8's not too bad. You got to run a return line. That's the catch.
Will you be redesigning the DAZA heat shield to work with your upcoming DAZA inlet? I see on forums it doesn't work with existing 4-inch inlets. I believe it works with ours. I mean,
as far as I know, we're swapping that on and off.
We've tested it
without any interference on our heat shield. So
I'm not.
People have interference issues with our heat shield and a Unitronic.
Right. Yeah. It's some other brand name inlets, but
it's
inlet,
the APR and Unitronic inlets that interfere with the heat shield, but our inlet will clear it, obviously. And honestly, I haven't seen the issue, but I would just say if you need to cut a little bit off the heat shield or something to clear that would be fine. But no, ours will definitely work with it. All right, 1 minute left. How accurate are the EGT readings on the B8.5 S4, specifically when reading from a P3 gauge?
That is completely up to the calibration that's on it. Those are all modeled. In our mapping, we retain generally all of the factory modeling for that, so they should be as close as the factory would be. We do our best to accommodate and recalculate all the VEs and whatnot in there. So yeah, they should be pretty darn close. if compared to a factory tune.
You really have to qualify the accuracy of the EGT reading though, because if you move it from one place to another, you're going to get totally different readings.
And then yeah, and again, these are all modeled, so it's yeah.
But even if you install the
it's a tough
sensor
to rely on, and yeah, a sensor like an inch of distance from a port can make.
and you're seeing 1300 F, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So you need to kind of do testing and engineering yourself to figure out, what do certain temperature EGTs equate to when something is happening in the combustion chamber, which is where you really need a combustion pressure sensor. And then you can start measuring the heat and pressure of the inside of the combustion chamber.
Yep.
And then, using that, you can build your own database and, not necessarily a model, but you can start to interpret what different EGT readings mean, so that if you determine that when there's a pressure spike in the combustion chamber that creates detonation, that equates to 1800 F or higher EGT at that specific spot where you measured it, then you can start to give it some meaning.
Some sort of baseline.
But to do what you're doing by looking at a P3 gate, it's honestly probably not helpful.
Yeah, I wouldn't lean too much on that data.
Yeah. So as always, a little bit of data isn't always a good thing. In fact, it can just confuse you even more. You really have to have the complete picture.
Yeah.
So it's like if you just look at one raindrop, you don't necessarily know what the weather is. All right. Thanks, guys. I think we're out of time.
Yep.
So we have some more questions that we will save for next week. So if you didn't get your answer, please tune in next week. I think we might need to do it on Wednesday or Tuesday next week.
Okay. We'll figure that out.
I think it might be out Monday.
Okay.
So, and it's MLK Day, and we're still open. But all right. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Take care.